Activists, get this through your head. Corporations are not your friends. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome to my channel. We are going to continue the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light controversy. Now, for those of you who have not seen my previous video, you can click on it above. I was a couple weeks late uploading my thoughts on it. Filmed it weeks ago. Life got busy. Things like that. But considering this controversy has not really died down, I figured, well, I guess I might as well still upload it. And in fact, I have more to add to that video. Now, in case you've decided to continue this video without watching that video, the long and short of it is that I do believe that Dylan Mulvaney is a con man. I believe he is taking his supporters for a ride. I don't believe he's actually trans, but I do not believe he is evil. He is doing smart business, if I am being frank. And I also explained why Budweiser, or Bud Light really, decided to take a chance on a Dylan Mulvaney promotion. I acknowledge that, look, here's where the brand stood. This is the stereotype you get with them when drinking Bud Light. And they wanted to expand upon that because it was dwindling in a while. And they took a calculated risk. And I even predict at the time that long term, they would probably be okay. And I still believe that they will be okay going forward. That said, the situation really has not improved very much. The person who was put in charge of doing the Dylan Mulvaney partnership has been placed on a leave of absence and replaced with someone else. I personally believe she has been fired, but they don't want to say that because that would look really bad. What's more, you have people like John Oliver criticizing the company that owns Bud Light, whose name I forget because I don't drink beer, on his show because Bud Light basically, after this controversy blew up, aired this new commercial with horses and mountains and emphasized the American dream, basically good old-fashioned America. And John Oliver, well, he had this to say about it.
This feels like a huge misfire for Anheuser-Busch because when bigots are loudly announcing they don't like your beer because they are bigots, that is an opportunity for you to say, then our beer is not for you.
So with that really being what's going on right now, I want to approach both of these issues head on. And I want to explain to people why things are not playing out the way they think they should. On to John Oliver first and other people who have written articles about how Bud Light basically showed that they are not a true ally of a community, or ally, I should say. That, you know, companies need to stop going to LGBTQ people, plus, right, and making partnerships with them and then basically throwing them under the bus when the partnership doesn't work out. I actually agree with this. I agree that yes, if you decide to do a promotion, you should really think about what you're doing and whether or not you want to go down that path. And if, you know, the public doesn't want to go down that path, then, you know, if you back out, you're going to have some egg on your face. I do believe that. Here's the other thing, though. Businesses don't get into these partnerships to be allies. They don't. Honestly, I don't even think they get into these partnerships because they really care about you. You know, if you go to Disneyland, you're going to see tons of LGBTQ plus merchandise, rainbows all over the place during Pride Month. And yet, how often is Disney criticized for not actually putting LGBTQ plus characters in their movies? Or if they are in there, they are of such small consequence that they can be edited out or rewritten to not be that way in foreign markets. I think this is actually a pretty good blueprint for what this Disney is actually doing. Disney wants you to spend their money, but they also have a portion of people that they don't want to lose money from either. And Disney is essentially playing both sides. Now, Bud Light is trying to do this too, but it's not working. First of all, the Dylan Mulvaney partnership didn't seem to actually lead to any LGBTQ plus people buying the beer. Most people commented that it tastes like piss water. I'm going to take their word for it. Never had it personally. And you did offend a bunch of people, and they have decided not to buy the beer. Whether you think that is stupid or transphobic or an overreaction or just plain stupid, I personally think it's stupid. As I pointed out in my last video, I don't buy products based on politics. I buy products based on whether or not the product has any practical use for me or if I enjoy it. But they did do that, and it's their right to do that. It's your right to buy and not buy whatever you want. But here is why Bud Light backed out of what they were doing and why they changed tactics and why they are revamping their ad campaign and why they almost certainly will not use Dylan Mulvaney again. And it's because they're losing money. Now, John Oliver said that Bud Light should make a stand that if you are such and such, our beer is not for you. Frankly, Bud Light doesn't care about what you're like. They don't care if you're, terrible. They don't care if you follow the evil mustache guy from Germany from years ago. They don't care if you're Christian. They don't care if you're gay. They don't care about anything. All they care about is money. And while John Oliver can sit there and say, hey, you should tell the transphobes not to buy your beer, guess what? They're not doing it. And apparently the trans community are not making up the numbers in those sales. This is a hard fact of life to learn, but these companies exist to make money. And if you want to call Bud Light immoral for caving, you know what? Bud Light is alcohol. And it probably contributes to I don't know how many domestic abuse situations and drunken driving accidents. I wouldn't exactly call buying this product a moralistic thing to do. So whether or not Bud is on the moralistic right side of history when advertising their product, I could frankly care less. But the reality is that Bud Light wanted to increase their sales, and it decreased. Now then, let's get on to the woman who got, put on a leave of absence. She had a job to increase sales of Bud Light. That was her job. That's what she was hired to do. Her heart was probably in the right place when she decided to do the campaign that she was going to do. But it didn't work. When she was put on a leave of absence, Bud Light sales went down roughly 6%. A week later, maybe two, depending on when this video goes up, the sales are reportedly down 26%. Now, the parent company is doing fine. In fact, most people just switch from Bud Light to another beer that this company is making, and they don't even realize it. So, again, long term, they're going to be fine. But they hired this woman to increase the brand of Bud Light and to get more sales. She utterly failed in that mission. That is why they put her on a leave of absence, because I do believe she has been let go. They just haven't said anything, and they will probably pay her for a little while before they let her go because they don't want any more negative publicity, even though there's going to be some when the truth is finally revealed. And the bottom line to all this is that, look, I respect what activists do. I respect that if you're an activist, you are trying to make a change that you feel is a change worth fighting for. Like, heck, a few years ago, I was technically an Uber and Lyft advocate. I advocated for drivers, for better pay, for, employment rights, for sick leave, all that jazz. Ultimately, kind of walked away because I decided that if drivers weren't going to help themselves, why should I try to help them? It didn't seem like a cause that was worth continuing. But I do believe that if you are passionate about it, if you really feel like you should try to make a difference, then being an activist is a responsibility. But what you must understand when it comes to corporations is that their interests and your interests don't align all the time. I mean, they are in the business of selling a product. And if they make a statement and that product takes a serious financial hit as a result of that stance, some of them may have enough money that they can withstand the storm for a while. They probably do. But at the end of the day, they need to make money, and if they continue to lose money supporting a cause, they'll eventually stop. What was interesting about Bud Light is that they caved so quickly, which might actually suggest that the Bud Light brand is in much bigger danger than we realize, because if they started cracking after like a less than 10% dip in sales, then maybe that brand has been in trouble for a while. Hence, that's why they tried to do something new. When it didn't work, that's why they panicked. But being an activist and trying to do what's right, you should not expect corporations to do that, because ultimately corporations will do what's best for their bottom line. And some of the corporations, in fact, are pretty good about feigning support for certain groups of people while secretly really not doing much to help them at all. And so you do have to look a little deeper to see, is this company actually an ally, or are they just kind of using me to expand their market share? And that's just the reality of it. Money is really what makes the world go round. That is what dictates what happens and what doesn't happen. And in this case, whether you want to admit it or not, the people who are upset at Bud Light, they had more money to take away from Bud Light than the people who wanted Bud Light to stay the course. It's not kind, it's not sexy, it's just the facts. So anyway, that's where we're going to leave this video. I'd like to know what you think about all of this. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.